Today we're going to be working with adding some stars and some little wings back into our drawing. The idea of doing a little mixed media on top of our watercolor. So I'm actually already a little mixed media. This drawing I started in Stabilo pencil, and then I added watercolor in the background and colored penciled the girl. And she's a nice soft. And I really like my background, but I just felt like it didn't have enough oomph. I wanted some more interesting things around it. And I thought glowy stars would be a really cute addition. So what I'm going in here and I'm doing is I'm just really softly going in and drawing all of my stars back in here. So, and I'm just trying to decide how many I need and exactly where I want them. I don't think it needs too many, but I do like to work with odd numbers. So, let's see. And then also, I think she would be really cute with a pair of little angel wings, little bitty wings back here. And this is a great technique if you've done something dark and you want to go add something back in that's light. Or if you just want some different textures in your work. So I've drawn those in. Then I'm going to I've got myself some Liquitex gesso. I've put it on a plate. Got a little paintbrush. Make sure you don't use a watercolor brush. You want to use an acrylic brush for this. Gesso is hard on brushes, and you want to make sure you wash your brush out really well. And the reason we're not going straight in with paint or with a paint marker is because I find that what I end up doing is just moving that background color, especially if it's a darker color. Some of these spots are lighter, so that's not so bad, but if it's like I had some really dark or heavy color in here, this would just be moving around. And if you look closely, we're not trying to make a perfectly white. I'm just getting one light coat down. What this gesso is going to do is it's going to lock our color, our background color down. And it's going to make sure that whatever layer I do next, we're not going to have that color coming up onto our material. So even if this ends up being, you know, slightly blue or purple or whatever slightly colored background, that's going to be okay. We're going to do some more acrylic work over this. We just want our color to not get all over our markers or our paint or blend in with our next layer, because we want a nice bright next layer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just color in all of these little bitty stars. And you saw I drew some little wings in. So I'm going to go ahead and paint those wings in. Our next step is going to be to let this fully dry before we do anything else. We're not going to use a hairdryer on it. I don't want to damage my paper and damage the sizing in here in case I want to do anything else. And since this is in a book, I certainly don't want to bring heat onto my other pages. So we're going to let this naturally dry and come back. But I've got all my whites in, all my stars. I'm going to do a little double check, make sure I filled everything in. And if you don't want to draw your stuff in it and you want to go straight with paint, more power to you. I like to make sure that I've got a little darker line around the edge. I just like that look. I also tend to go a little wild with the brush and not realize, and with the white paint, it's hard to tell. So right now I'm just doing some final touches, making sure I've got a nice flat first layer. I don't want it too bumpy. And we'll go ahead and let this dry, and I'll see you in a minute. Everything has dried, and I'm coming back in here. I'm using a white posca pen to get another layer of white on these wings so that they really stand out and we don't see the color in behind. Now, if you didn't have Posca pens, you could use any matte acrylic paint. And the important point is that it's matte so that we can do a little drawing on top of it. And the matte will take that. The matte is also nice to use if you're working in a sketchbook because your pages won't stick together. This is a yellow Posca pen. I think, what is this? A 0.9 to 1.3 millimeter. No, there we go. It's a 3 millimeter. I don't know. Anyways, it says 3 PC-3M or 0.9-1.3 millimeter. And that's the size. But like I said, if you didn't have Posca pen, just matte acrylic yellow paint. This is a nice light yellow that I think makes a pretty bright star color. I'm just going in and I'm trying not to smear any of the stars I should have painted. Left side first. That's all right. All right. And once I'm all done painting my stars, again, I'm going to let this naturally dry. I'm not going to use any heat on it. Just covering all the white with yellow for my stars, and I covered my white wings. So I'm going to let this completely dry, and then I'm going to be back for our last series of steps. Okay, we've let our paint dry, and I'm just going to come in here, and I'm taking a slightly darker yellowy orange color in a colored pen. This is actually a watercolor pencil, but I'm not going to apply water. It doesn't really matter. You can use any colored pencil. You can use a darker yellow, a slightly orange yellow, and just give a little bit of dimension to these stars by creating a little shadow. I'm not doing a full outline, just a couple spots on each star to give the illusion that the star is three-dimensional. Next, I'm going to add the tiniest bit of white paint as a highlight. I'm using a Sharpie. This is a poster paint marker. I know these aren't available anymore. You can use, if you have a fine tip, Posca pen or one of the uniball white pens. Doing a couple little dots, and I'm just smoothing them out. I don't want them to appear as dots. I just want a little highlight in the middle of my star. Again, we're just giving the illusion of them being three-dimensional. Okay, our next step is we're going to add what makes a star glowy. This is a cream-colored Polychromos Fabercastell pencil. Any light yellow pencil that you have will do. You do not need this one. There's nothing special about this. This is just the light yellow pencil that I had near me that I grabbed when I was pulling out my materials. And you want to go darkest near your star and then lighten up on the pressure as you go farther out. And this is what's going to give your stars that glowy feeling. I don't think you need to watch me do all these. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video. You can just see me add a little bit of glow to each one. Okay, now that we've added our yellow, I'm going to take this Signo uniball pen, add a tiny white edge, not all the way around, but just as a little highlight, almost outside. And this just gives it more of a sparkle. You can see I've got some of that gray poking through. I like that look. It works well with this particular drawing. But if you didn't like that, use a light yellow pencil to draw in your stars in the beginning, and you won't have that edge. There we go. We have some nice sparkly shiny stars in our picture. I'm also going to add just the tiniest bit of shadow. Even though these wings are white, they would really have just a little bit of shadow as they come in. And again, this is just a light green pencil. I'm not even sure this will show up, and see, somehow I've picked up some brown. That's okay. We're just gonna take our Posca pen, go right back over that. There you go. And we're all done. So now something else you could do, you could add hearts, you could add different color stars, you could add mushrooms, you could go back in with anything you want to add back on top. This just adds a little more sparkle, a little more dimension to your painting. Happy arting.